Russian forces are continuing their attacks on Ukraine's main cities. Russia claims it has taken control of the city of Kherson in Ukraine's south. The governor there says the city is completely surrounded. Elsewhere, a government building was ablaze in the second city of Kharkiv, which has come under days of airstrikes, authorities say. Russian paratroopers have also landed there. They say more than 20 people have been killed and 100 injured in Kharkiv in recent days. And the mayor of the port city, Mariupol, says it is under constant bombardment. Let's bring in Inna Sobson. She is a member of the Ukrainian parliament and joins us from Kyiv. Welcome. Inna, you're originally from Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city that has suffered heavily from Russian bombardment over the past days. So what are you hearing from there? What's happening there?
I am indeed from Kharkiv. I'm seeing bombs blowing up in the city. They have bombarded the area where I grew up. The bomb, the one that you reported about in the city center, it's blown up just 10 minutes walk from my school, which I graduated from 20 years ago. So I am getting many messages from people, even if those people I haven't been in touch with for years, but they're all texting me and saying this: we want those fascists out of our city. We want Kharkiv to stay Ukrainian. And that is a largely Russian-speaking city. That is important to explain to the international audience, because Putin has been claiming that he is coming here to give freedom to the Russian speakers. Well, now Russian speakers in Kharkiv are asking for him to leave their city so that they can live in independent and sovereign Ukrainian state. The situation in Kharkiv is indeed terrible. They are bombing it from sky. But what gives me hope is that after 3 days of heavy bombardments of the city, which have destroyed, I don't know how much of the infrastructure. It destroyed hospitals and authority buildings, but they didn't manage to get into the city on tanks. So the city is very well protected by the Ukrainian army on the ground. The only thing that we have difficulty covering is the sky. That is why they're using this advantage in order to bombshell my native city.
So you are a member of parliament for a party that is normally in opposition to President Zelensky. Are you supporting him in this situation? Is Ukraine really pulling together?
I am a representative of the opposition party. We do have many disagreements with Zelensky political party, but as of now, we all stay united. We all just want Russians out of our country, and then we can continue our democratic criticism of the government. But as of now, there is nothing we can argue about, because the only thing we all want as of this time is for Russians just to get out of our territory and to get out of our land.
Now, a few days ago, sitting in a bomb shelter, you wrote an article about how the Russian president has, quote, fatally underestimated Ukrainians. What do you mean by that?
Well, Putin, when starting his troops invasion into Ukraine, he was thinking that he will be fighting Ukrainian army, which is, of course, smaller than the Russian army. But as a matter of fact, he is fighting the whole of the Ukrainian people right now, because everyone is getting involved. Everyone is volunteering. Everyone is ready to take the guns. I'm seeing more than 100,000 people who signed up voluntarily for territorial defense units, including my dad. I'm seeing women of middle age who don't know how they can be of help. They are making food for the soldiers. I'm seeing people on the streets in eastern towns where the Russians come and they claim that they take over control of the city. What those people are doing, and that is just amazing. I'm almost crying when watching those videos. They are doing the most Ukrainian thing you can imagine. They go to the main street, to the main square, and protest against the Russians in their city. And they actually managed to kick out in several cases, Russians on tanks from their cities with their bare hands, just by yelling at them, by setting Molotov cocktails, which do set their tanks on fire. And I think that is something that Putin did not take into account, is that he is actually fighting not 215,000 Ukrainian soldiers, he is fighting 40 million Ukrainians.
Now, the United Nations says it expects 4 million Ukrainians to flee the country, and that's 10% of the entire population. As a member of parliament, do you encourage people to leave as long as it's possible, or to stay?
Well, I, as a member of parliament, but also as a mother, I do understand the desire to make sure that your child is safe. And from what I am seeing from the reports we're getting, those who did leave are mainly women with their children. And again, as a mother, I would say that after I heard the first bombs, after first explosions in Kyiv, the first thing I did, I called my son's father, and we had an arrangement that in case something start happening, he will be taking our son to the west of Ukraine, and that is what he did. And then I could proceed with my job here as a member of parliament. So I believe that the majority of those who left are women with children, and I do understand this. I very much hope that they will be able to return safely to their home cities and towns. I cannot encourage or discourage this. I do understand the situation they're in, and I really, really want all people to be safe, particularly because we are seeing that Putin is targeting civilian targets. As of yesterday, we had 17 confirmed deaths of children after the shellings and the shootings on the street here in Kyiv. So Putin is killing our children. So making sure our children are safe is a huge priority. Again, I understand that not just as a member of parliament, but as a mother myself. But I do hope that they were able to return back to Ukraine after the victory.
I'm afraid we have to leave it here. Ina Sostin there, a member of the Ukrainian parliament, talking to us from Kyiv. Thank you very much for joining us here on DW News. And let's have a quick recap of the situation on the ground in Ukraine. Russian forces are intensifying their attacks on Ukraine's main cities. Russia claims it has taken control of Kherson, a city in the south, close to Crimea. The governor there says it's completely surrounded. Russian paratroopers have reportedly landed in Ukraine's second biggest city, Kharkiv. Russia has warned residents there to flee as it plans further airstrikes like those seen in recent days.
A Russian missile strikes a TV tower in Kyiv. In Kharkiv, a government building goes up in flames. Both attacks killed people. Russia is ramping up its assault on Ukraine. As a 60-kilometer-long Russian convoy of armored vehicles closes in on the capital, thousands of Ukrainians are still desperately trying to flee. Those staying behind are facing the horrors of war. We had a fight at 5 a.m. We were retreating, and near us, a meter away from me, a mine blew off my friend's arms and legs. I tried to save him. I pulled him away, but he didn't make it. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked NATO to set up a no-fly zone and has also applied to join the European Union.
We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom. Despite the fact that all large cities of our country are now blocked, we are fighting also to be equal members of Europe. I believe that today we are showing everybody that's exactly what we are. So do prove that you are with us. Do prove that you will not let us go.
It was an impassioned plea for help. As the political discussions continue, the Ukrainian fighting spirit remains strong.
DW correspondent Matthias Böllinger now joins us from Lviv in western Ukraine for the latest from the ground there. Matthias, reports are coming in that the Russian military has taken control over the city of Kherson. What more can you tell us?
Well, it's a bit unclear at the moment. What we've seen is pictures of tanks inside the city center of Kherson near the railway station and also some administrative buildings. It seems that they have entered the city. Whether they have full control or not is unclear. Where fighting seems to be going on. The Ukrainian side denies that the Russians have taken full control and are saying that they still control parts of the city. I think we'll get a clearer picture in a few hours or maybe days.
So Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky gave an address today, and he sounded very defiant. Let's listen into what he said.
Just think about this figure. Almost 6,000 Russians died. Russian servicemen. Within 6 days of war, a figure without the enemy's losses from the past night. 6,000. To get what? Ukraine? It is impossible. It will not happen with rockets. It will not happen with bombs, tanks, any strikes. We are on our land, and there will be an international tribunal to prosecute them for the war against us.
President Volodymyr Zelensky there, he mentioned the Ukrainian estimate of Russia's death toll so far. What do we know about the morale among Russia's military and indeed on the Ukrainian side?
Yeah, this is the Ukrainian estimate. Of course, you need to treat this with caution. There are no numbers by the Russian side, published by the Russian side. Also, there are no numbers published by the Ukrainian side on Ukrainian losses, or at least no full figures. But what we see from lots of reports that we're getting from society, not only from the military, is that Russia seems to have miscalculated this incursion, and they were not well prepared. We are hearing stories about tanks running out of fuel on their way to attack Ukrainian cities. We are hearing about Russian soldiers begging for food in some places. This seems to have been extremely badly planned. We're also hearing from Russia, less so, but also from Ukraine, that many soldiers don't seem to know that they were invading Ukraine. This is hard to believe, but there are stories where soldiers were told they were sent on an exercise and then they found themselves facing a civilian population, for example, that was hostile to them. And it's very hard to assess right now what the situation is, whether these are single cases or whether this is systemic. It is something that the Soviet Union and Russia have done before, that they bring in young recruits without giving them the full picture. We are also hearing that communication is often lost for these groups. Their cell phones have been confiscated, so they cannot report back from the front, but they were not given proper maps. That's something the Ukrainian military says, that they have not found a single map inside these vehicles that they have captured. So it's the picture that we're getting now. Now we need to really be careful with this, because this is a war and every side gives only the information that they want to give. But the picture that we're getting now is that this has been a terrible misconception of this incursion. Badly equipped, badly prepared Russian military, but a Russian military that has a lot of arms, a lot of tanks, and a lot of manpower. So we shouldn't draw the conclusion from this that this is over in any way. I think this might be lasting for some time, even despite these reports.
Parts of that manpower and that weaponry seems to be forming a massive column of on the outskirts of Kyiv. Is the capital capable of repelling an attack by a force like that?
Well, you could expect that the capital is one of the most fortified places, one of the places that Ukraine has prepared to defend. It's a question, of course, on how long this will last, and also how well Russia organizes their support from the other side. We see all these vehicles on satellite imagery, but we don't really know how well they are, for example, equipped with fuel, with food, how long they can stand there. They don't seem to be moving at the moment. We also don't know what they're meant to do. Are they meant to invade into the city and engage in fights in the streets of Kiev, or are they meant to encircle the city, to lay siege on the city? These two things are completely different, and they would need a completely different response from those who defend the city. So that's very hard to say at the moment. We see it's an impressive number, and we've seen impressive numbers all over. Now, of course, on the ground, we are also seeing that Ukraine has been prepared much better than many have thought.
DW's Matthias Böllinger there joining us from Lviv. Thank you very much, Matthias.